the only thing that would stop them from being a top 10 defense, I won't go as far as top 5 because there's a lot of really good units in the league, to me would be defensive coordinator. I feel like the talent on paper for the lineup, the roster, it's there, right? Like the defensive line is so stacked. There's depth now in the secondary. They upgraded all of their positions of need. I like the linebacker core, Chris. I know that you maybe don't like it as much as I do.
Hate
but
it. I just don't think it's a lock. I don't hate it, though. Yeah.
But I don't know. You look at this defense on paper, I mean, it better be top 10. And then if it isn't, it's got to be a play calling problem to me. So it just comes down to Shane Bowen. I mean, he had some good defenses when he was with the Tennessee Titans. If he can return to that form, then yeah, we could definitely have a top 5 defense. But if it's more of last year where I felt like a lot of players were playing out of position, granted, there were a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of guys missed time, so that affected things. But again, they did improve the depth. So I think there's a good chance they're top 5. I would say that they should be top 10. That should be the expectation. And, if they're outside of the top 10, something went catastrophically wrong with an injury or from the play calling duties.
I'm going to say this. Health is going to play a major part in them being top 5.
Always.
If they're healthy all year, they definitely could be up there. But these guys got to stay healthy. I think they might have some nagging injuries here and there. Not everybody's going to play all 17 games in a defense. That's unrealistic expectations. But we can't lose guys for like months. You can't lose a guy for 8 games, like an impactful player. Like Dexter Lawrence missed 5 games last year, and Kayvon Thibodeau missed 5 games last year. That stuff can't happen if we're going to be a top 5 defense. They have to pretty much stay healthy all season. But Chris makes a great point. We mentioned that before. Offense, sustaining drives, converting third downs, winning time possessions is going to keep the defense fresh. Especially if you can get out to a lead and you can let that pass rush do its thing. That would be huge. But like Anthony said, the talent it's unquestionable how good the talent is on paper. And I am anxious to see it on the field. I really am. I don't remember the last time I was really excited about a Giants defense the way I am excited about this.
On paper, guys, I think, well, I was going to say on paper, they're right there with that 2016 when they had the great defense the second half with Snacks. But that secondary was much better than this one with obviously DRC and Jenkins. But it's pretty close, like on paper. Like this defense has a potential to be a really good. But that offense, even though it wasn't good, it was worse than we thought it was going to be that year, was better than the offense that we've seen from the Giants the last couple of years. The threat of Odell Beckham, Eli Manning still a quarterback. If they could have an average offense, I do think top 5 is possible. Because on paper, like you guys have been saying, the Giants have, at a bare minimum, a top 10 defense in the NFL. So, yeah, I won't rule it out. But I think the offense has to surprise a bit for the defense to reach that level.
Without question. Want to say a big shout out to BetUS right up here, right there. There it is.
What's our odds today, guys? I always love these.
Go up there. Go to BetUS. Enter the promo code YouTube150. You get a 150% match deposit bonus on your first deposit, a 125% match deposit bonus on your second and third deposits, all the way up to $2,000 bonus cash. You get great customer service 24/7, 365. Payouts within 24 hours, and you get 10% gambler's insurance against all your net losses as long as you stay active every 6 months. Terms and conditions apply, and when you gamble, we ask that you do it responsibly. Never gamble more than you can afford to lose. What did the graphics team come up with today? Let's see. Who will win the starting QB job? Well, barring injury, I think this is pretty much a foregone conclusion.
If you want to make a quick $100 and you have $1,600 to spend, put it on Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
The only way you lose that bet is if Russ gets hurt, which I guess is possible, which is why it's, but yeah.
I guess we could look at the other two and see how close that actually is. We were talking about Jackson Dart getting second team reps and splitting them with Jameis Winston. I guess that's pretty close but I'm also going to say if Russ got hurt, it's definitely not going to be Jackson Dart. I think you can eliminate Jackson Dart there. So if you want to take a chance that Russ, and God, please not happen, his hammy comes up, a little weak or something, week 1, and Jameis Winston ends up being the starter. I mean, you could get, $900 for your $100. But Russ is the starter. There's no question.
Yeah.
Russ is the starter. And, so that'll be good. We love Russ. Russ is gonna prove us all good this year. We all like Russ. Welvin says, who's getting with more all-purpose yards, Tracy or Scatabo? I'd say Tyrone Tracy. I don't know how they're going to use Scatabo, but I think Scatabo will kind of be like.
I will say, I think Scatabo is a pretty good receiver. When I've watched him, I think he is a threat as a receiver.
Absolutely,
but I think you have to go with Tracy as the favorite to get the all-purpose yards between.
I think they'll use Scatabo like every third series or on short yard situations. I think
at least to start the year. Start the year, but as the year progresses, I could see a more even distribution.
Anthony, what do you think?
I would vote for Tracy. He's the experienced player. He went for over 1,000 all-purpose yards last year and only 12 starts, which is a really impressive mark. And I think he's really good. I think people are sleeping on him. I don't think it's intentional. I think people are just really excited about how Scatabo was just there for the taking in the 4th round, landed on our lap. So there's a lot of hype generating and excitement around Scatabo, but I think it's taken away from Tracy inadvertently, and it shouldn't be, because Tracy really did show a lot last year. Even I know that some, the fumbles were a problem, and he said that he's working on them yesterday at OTAs. He said that he bought grip strength trainers off of Amazon, so hopefully that helps him. But also people complained he had some drops last year, didn't really make the impact as a receiver as everybody expected. But I also remember him catching a toe tap touchdown grab against the Falcons at the end of last season too. So the flashes were there, and that's what you need to see from a rookie is flashes. And he did more than just flash last year. He became the starter over Devin Singletary. So that's rare, and I think that should be put into perspective. You hope for flashes from a rookie running back. You don't expect the flashes to turn into starting caliber talent for 12 weeks in the season, and that's what happened with Tracy. So you should expect him to take more steps forward in year 2 as the full-time starter. Again, he entered last year not as the starter, but as a backup, took over as a starter this year. Yeah, as a third string. This year, he's entering as the starter. He's going to be fully prepared for that role, and I'm really excited to see him in it. So I think he'll finish with more all-purpose yards. That's not to say I think Scatabo isn't going to get his, because he will. He's really talented, and he's explosive. But I think he's going to be more of a package player, but Tracy should be the leading man in the show.
Scatabo! You hit it. That's my only real concern with Tyrone Tracy is the fumbles. And that's fixable. We saw it with Tiki Barber. We'll see if Tyrone Tracy's able to fix it. We also have to realize that Tyrone Tracy doesn't have a whole lot of experience as a running back. He only played running back, I believe, 1 year while he was at Purdue. He was a wide receiver every year before that, so he's still learning, right? These other Scatabo, for example, has been a running back probably for the last life. So he's still learning to play that position, and hopefully he spends this offseason working on that. But as a runner, I said it several times when we live stream the games. He reminds me of Le'Veon Bell. I don't want to put that level because Le'Veon Bell was arguably the best running back. His patience, his ability to wait and pick the right hole. He is a very smart running back. So I'm a big fan of Tyrone Tracy, and I think, like Anthony said, he could have a big year for the Giants for sure. Especially with Russ Wilson at quarterback. He's more of a threat in the passing game. It should only help the rushing attack. So, and I would like to see Tracy use receiver. I wasn't too concerned with drops last year. I didn't think they utilized him enough in the passing game. You would think he's more of a threat, being that he's a former wide receiver. So I would like to see him utilized more in the passing game than he was last year. But I think he's in for a big year if he could stay on the field, Tracy.
I think you could definitely see some two running, both of those guys in the field at the same time, where you do maybe line Tracy up in the slot and have Scatabo as the back, or something like that. They can get creative because both of those guys are very versatile. I was thinking this because again, Tyrone Tracy was a wide receiver most of his time at Purdue, and he became a running back last year. Do you guys attribute any of the fumbling problems? And maybe I'm just picking somebody out of the air here. As a wide receiver, you're not getting hit by 350-pound linemen or 260-pound linebackers that run 4.40s. Is it possible that he just wasn't used to getting hit by those guys and he had to work on his strength? Because normally, not that safeties can't hit hard and not that cornerbacks can't light you up, but it's much different when you run into a wall of 350-pound guys who are punching at the ball. They're way stronger in the NFL. Do you think that, like you said, I think he can fix it. It's an adjustment period, but do you think that has anything to do with the fact that he fumbled that much?
100%. 100%. When you're a wide receiver, you're not running into condensed spaces the way that a running back does. So I think his lack of experience at that position absolutely. And I'd have to go back and look at each individual fumble that he had last year, but I think it absolutely it played at least a partial factor as to why he had fumbling problems, that he's not acclimated to being a running back. He hasn't been doing it very long. So I think that is something he could get a lot better with.
Goody. We want him to get better because he definitely showed, flashes of being really good. I mean, he didn't become the starter, week 6? And he had 1,000.
Well, last year going into the year, we had obviously Motor, and then who am I forgetting? That was I thought Eric Gray might have been, at least going into the year, might have been ahead of him on the depth chart, and then obviously that quickly changed. But he was viewed as the now. I think most people thought he would become what I just said about Scadaboo this year, where I expected to be more of an even distribution as the year wears along. That was my mindset on Tracy last year. Around week 8 or 9, you may see him start to get 50% of the workload, but I didn't envision him becoming the basically the primary ball carrier last year, and he took that job and he ran with it.
Yep, literally, nice pun. Literally.
Yeah,
you did mention Motor Singletary though, and the same way I feel like people are sleeping on Tracy because of the presence of Scadaboo. The presence of both Scadaboo and Tracy, I think, has people sleeping on Devin Singletary. Singletary was really good last year before he got hurt. Obviously, Tracy took over as a starter. I think an element of that, though, was the New York Giants recognizing, all right, the season is already off the rails here in week 5. Let's go with the young guy. He's a good young running back. Let's see what he has. But Singletary was pretty good before he got hurt. I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, leading the league in forced missed tackles. He definitely had a few touchdowns within the red zone. I mean, he was playing some good ball. I think he's a pretty good running back who we definitely had a lot of excitement in this time last year. But now, obviously, we've double upgraded since then with Tracy. And then, of course, with Scadaboo, now we've upgraded at running back. But I don't know. Maybe the forgotten man shouldn't be so forgotten. I could see him playing quite a lot this year if he doesn't get, obviously, cut or released. But
the more we talk about the roster, guys, the more I think we're going to run the ball a lot more than many think. Like, I definitely think the Giants are going to, because it only makes sense. We all agree that the strength of this team is on the other side of the ball. The defense, I think obviously they're going to have more big play capabilities than the 2022 roster, but I think it could be a similar offensive mindset in the sense of long drives, wear out the opposing defense, keep your defense fresh with the big play capabilities with the Malik Neighbors and, of course, Russell Wilson able to throw, 50-yard bombs down the field to guys like Jalen Hyatt, which wasn't in the 2022 offense. But I think you're going to see something similar in terms of play distribution to the 2022 roster. I think Giants are going to be a heavy run football team this year.
Definitely. The other thing is Singletary also had fumbling issues, which is strange. If I'm not mistaken, and I mean, it was a long time ago, obviously, so didn't he come out? Was it the game against Washington? Like we were driving and he had a big fumble, like the second, we were past midfield and he had a fumble. We were ready to take the lead and he kind of fumbled the ball away and they went down and maybe got a field goal. Was that game? I feel like twice in the year. I don't remember the other team. I think Washington was one, but he came out in the half and we were driving and he fumbled the ball and that kind of exhausted any momentum that we had. So it was weird that Singletary also had fumbling issues. So they got to get cleaned up. I think sometimes with the guy like Singletary, maybe just lack of concentration. Who knows? But once teams know that you fumble, I mean, they go for the ball anyway, but they're going to make a concerted effort. This guy's loose with the football. Let's knock it the hell out of his hand a bunch of times and, see what we can do, but clean it up. But Singletary, you don't hear anything about him to Anthony's point. Nothing. Heard nothing about Singletary. Everything is focused on Scadaboo and Tyrone Tracy.
You know what else that highlights, though? We said this about the defensive side of the ball, but at running back, depth. Because even Chris just mentioned, Eric Gray was a player we thought was going to be RB2 last year. He's like RB4 on this team.
Might not even
Dante Miller. Yeah, he might not even make this team. Dante Turbo Miller was supposed to be RB3 last year. He probably won't make this team. So there's depth now, and I think that's important.